hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Let's Learn with Lizzie. Today we are going to do a very detailed and exam-oriented analysis of the chapter Footprints Without Feet by H.G. Wells. This story is an extract from his famous novel The Invisible Man. While reading this chapter, remember, it is not just a science fiction story. It actually conveys a strong moral message about how scientific discoveries must be used responsibly. As board exam students focus on the character analysis, theme, message, important incidents, and the story elementing of the story. Now, let us first understand the author behind this fascinating story. H.G. Wells was one of the greatest pioneers of science fiction writing. He lived from 1866 to 1946 and is often called the father of science fiction. His works combine scientific imagination, social commentary, moral lessons. Some of his famous novels include The Invisible Man, The Time Machine, The War of the Worlds. In this story, Wells explores how science without ethics can become dangerous. Now, let us understand the literary background and genre of this text. This story belongs to the science fiction genre. Science fiction usually includes imaginary scientific inventions, future possibilities, moral or social concerns. Here, invisibility is not just a fantasy, it symbolizes isolation, misuse of power, moral corruption. This background is very important for board exam answers. Now, let's move on to the central character of the story, Griffin, who is a brilliant scientist, highly intelligent but morally irresponsible. Instead of benefiting humanity, he uses his discovery for selfish purposes. Then we are having Mrs. Hall as an important character in the story, the innkeeper's wife, who represents normal society. She is curious but practical. Next, we are having Constable Jeffers, who represents law and order, trying to control Griffin's chaos at the end of the story. Understanding these characters helps in long answer questions. And finally, we are having some minor characters like shopkeepers, clergymen, villagers who play along with the other characters. Now let's explore the main theme of the story. The central theme is misuse of science. Science itself is neutral. It depends on how humans use it. Other themes include loneliness caused by isolation, moral responsibility, power corrupting individuals. In exam answers, always connect theme with Griffin's action. Now let's begin the story itself. The story opens very mysteriously. Two boys notice muddy footprints appearing without any visible person. This immediately creates suspense. This opening serves two purposes. One, that it builds curiosity, and the next, it introduces invisibility dramatically. The explanation is quite simple. Griffin stepped in mud, which shows how even invisibility has its limitation. Now let's see how Griffin actually became invisible. Griffin conducted repeated experiments until he discovered how to make the human body transparent. He swallowed rare chemicals, turning invisible. But notice here, scientific brilliance is present, but moral wisdom is absent. This contrast is extremely important for exam answers. Let's see his personality more closely now. Griffin's landlord tried to evict him because of his mischievous activities and his betrayal. Instead of solving the issue peacefully, Griffin burned down the whole house out of revenge. This incident clearly proves that he is impulsive, he lacks ethical judgment. Examiners often ask Griffin was rather a lawless person. Comment always cite this incident because this is the one incident that shows that he never focused about, he never bothered about the law. Now let us see how invisibility created practical problems. Winter made invisibility uncomfortable for Griffin. Without clothes, he felt intense cold. To survive, he entered a London store secretly and stole clothes, food, money. Instead of using science positively, he became a criminal. This shows misuse of knowledge. But his problem didn't end there. When shop assistants arrived, Griffin panicked. He removed clothes again and escaped invisible. This scene shows power without control creates chaos. Also highlights physical limitations of invisibility. Next, he attempts to disguise. Griffin robbed a theatrical shop and wore bandages, glasses, whiskers, and hat. He attacked the shopkeeper. This confirms increasing criminal behavior, moral degradation. Always mention this in character analysis. Now he moves away from London. Griffin wanted solitude and chose the village of Iping. His strange appearance created curiosity, but Mrs. Hall tolerated him because he paid advance rent. She believed he was a scientist. This reflects society's tendency to trust wealth and status. Soon, mysterious events began. Furniture started moving on its own. Mrs. Hall thought the room was haunted. This is dramatic irony. Readers know Griffin is invisible, but the people of Epping never knew that he was invisible until the end of the story. This literary device often comes in exam. So focus carefully on the dramatic irony of the story. Now another crime occurs. Money was stolen mysteriously from Mrs. Hall's house. Nobody was visible. The room was empty, and suspicion fell on Griffin. His sudden possession of money strengthened doubt. This shows power leading to criminal misuse. Finally, Griffin reveals himself. Mrs. Hall confronted Griffin in anger. He removed disguise. People saw a headless figure. This shocking scene increases suspense and dramatic effect. It also symbolizes loss of identity. Now, Law tries to control him. Constable Jeffers tried arresting him. Griffin removed clothes and became invisible again. People were attacked by unseen blows. Law struggled against invisible power. The important message through the scene is that science without morality becomes very dangerous. Let's see the conclusion part. Griffin escaped successfully, and villagers remained terrified from that day onwards. No resolution is given here, which increases thoughtfulness. Readers are left questioning ethical use of science. Now, let's analyze Griffin very deeply. Griffin is a very complex character. Some of his positive traits are that he is intelligent, innovative, determined, but on the other hand, he is possessing so many negative qualities. Like he's quite selfish, he's short tempered, his criminal mindset is very dangerous, and there is no ethical responsibility in him. In conclusion, a tragic misuse of genius he is. In board exam, balanced character sketch scores higher marks. So focus on the character sketch in detail. Now let's move on to the core message of the story. Science should serve humanity. Knowledge without ethics leads to destruction. Griffin represents irresponsible scientific ambition. This message is highly relevant even today. Always connect message to real life in value-based answers. Now let's see literary techniques used in the story. Some of the key devices included in the story are suspense. Footprints appearing mysteriously create suspense in the story. And the irony, the invisible man exposed by footprints. Symbolism. Invisibility represents isolation and moral blindness. Mention these for analytical questions. Now, exam preparation focus. So, common exam questions include character sketch of Giffen, theme of misuse of science, why Mrs. Hall considered him eccentric. Griffin has a lawless scientist. Always include textual evidence from the story to add standard to your answer. Ask yourself, should scientific discoveries have its limitations? Ethics must guide science. Without responsibility, progress becomes very harmful. Such answers show maturity in exams. To conclude, this story is not just a science fiction, it is a warning about irresponsible use of intelligence. So remember, intelligence plus ethics is equal to progress, whereas intelligence without ethics is equivalent to danger. This is the essence of Footprint Without Feet. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video and felt like it was helpful, kindly please hit the like, share and subscribe button, and see you soon in the next video.